Hello, friends. Welcome to the LeggLife podcast. My name is Adam.
My name is Sherry.
Sherry Beth, what episode is this?
169.
It is 169. Sherry's laughing because we just did a take of this and, well, we messed it up. And then I restarted. It was a mutual mess up. Neither one has more blame. So, friends, welcome to November.
Yeah.
We are here. We are recording this on Friday evening, so you guys can let it tickle your ears on Saturday morning.
That's weird.
It's a little bit weird. And we have kind of a unique November this year.
Yeah.
5 Saturdays.
Yeah.
In November this year. And so we thought, you know what? One of the things that we've enjoyed doing here on the podcast, we haven't done it nearly enough, are sort of series, right? We've done a relationship series. We've done some other series kind of here on the LeggLife podcast. Mm-hmm. And this one's going to be a little bit different. So as our attention and focus turns to the month of November, obviously the big thing in November, Thanksgiving.
Yes.
And so we were like...
For the United States of America.
For the United States of America. That's exactly right.
Because the Canadian Thanksgiving is in October.
That's so strange. Canadian friends, you're not strange. Your Thanksgiving is strange. And so it's kind of this month where our thoughts turn to things that we're thankful for, things that we're grateful for. Mm-hmm. Personally, I think that is healthy to do year round.
Yeah.
But here in the States, we really focus on it during the month of November.
Yeah.
And so as we were talking at dinner, we had this idea. Sherry Beth, what is our idea?
We are going to hopefully try to.
We're not going to miss any. I'm putting it out there in the universe right now.
Whoa. We're going to, for the Saturdays in November, we are going to focus on the things that we have been thankful for throughout the previous week.
Because thankfulness...
And discuss them for our podcast.
Thankfulness and gratefulness is one of those things that I think sometimes they are very clear. Sometimes they take intention to see.
Yeah.
And I think that it is a good practice. In fact, I think we've talked about this in our podcast before. I think it is a good practice to intentionally be looking for the things in your life to be thankful for.
Yeah.
Because in today's world, there is plenty to be cynical about, to be bitter about, to be upset about. And I think sometimes those things can take center stage. But I think it's important to look for things to be thankful for. And so that is what we're going to do every single Saturday on the LeggLife podcast for this month.
Yes. And I think that we've talked about this before in a previous podcast or in a video or something. This is something that you are much better at than me.
Talk about that.
I am a naturally cynical person, I think. And so it's easy for me to think of like surfacey things to be thankful for. It's harder for me to think of like the deeper things.
In fact, one of the things we were talking about on the way home was how if it was up to you, if I didn't kind of push you in this, and I was just like, Sherry, give me 3 things you're thankful for. Every week, you would probably give the same 3 things.
Right. And like, and not that like I'm not thankful for things, but it's harder for me to come up with like new things to be thankful for. Like I can easily come up with like, 3 to 5 things that I'm thankful for, but they're probably going to be the same things.
I am more naturally an optimist. You are more naturally a pessimist. Mm-hmm. And so I think that we approach thankfulness very differently.
Yeah.
And I think some of that will come out today. And so we're going to do it kind of, here's how we're going to do it. We're going to, every week, we don't have a list. We're not going to say like the 3 things. Some weeks it might be 3, some weeks it might be 10. Mm-hmm. Just things that each of us were thankful for that week. And it doesn't have to be big things. It can be little things. I will say I am going to push Sherry. She doesn't get to reuse things.
Yeah.
You get to use books once. Yeah. Choose it wisely.
I know. I get to use Cappy once.
You get to use Captain America once. Like that's the thing, because you would say every week
books
I was thankful for books, Captain America, our fireplace, our warm home.
Yeah.
Like literally that, and Sherry's just like good to go.
And my happy job.
And your happy job. So I'm just gonna I'm gonna push you, and you can use things once.
I know.
Just prepare to get frickin' creative, Sherry.
Oh, boy.
But then we're also going to answer a couple other specific questions. One of the questions that we're going to answer each week is, so there are like low-hanging fruit. There's things that are just naturally, I think, stand out when you think of things you're thankful for. Sometimes there are things that maybe are harder to see. Like it's in an area of life where maybe you're not naturally thankful for it, but if you intentionally focus on it, you can find something in that area that you're thankful for.
Yeah.
And then we are going to each kind of have a different question that we can answer. We picked a list of questions. Maybe it's someone who showed you kindness this week. Maybe it's someone from your past that you were reminded this week of their kindness to you. Maybe it's like just it's like a random question that we get to choose from. So, Sherry.
Yes.
Do you feel ready to jump into this?
Sure.
Do you need any other caveats or any other like asterisks to describe your pessimism?
I don't think so.
Do you? Okay, before we
And
jump,
here's the thing.
Yes.
I think that I am naturally pessimistic, but I think that I'm an Enneagram 5. And so I think that I see all sides of everything. And so I don't always only see the positive side of things. I see all of the sides. I see the negatives too. And I think that it's easier sometimes to focus on the negatives. And so, it's not that I don't see the positives. I think that it's just sometimes easier to see the negatives. And so, I think that's just my...
Is that something that because there's a gift in that. Like, I think there's going to be a positive in that. Is that something that you would you like to be a more naturally optimistic person?
Well, maybe, but I also think that I think that it's good sometimes to maybe not only see the positive side of things. I think sometimes, this is totally off topic, but there's, the toxic positivity.
Yeah.
And, the people that are just always finding the silver lining. Sometimes there's not a silver lining. Sometimes you just need to sit and you're sad.
Oh.
So, this is totally off topic, but yeah, like I think that it's sometimes it's okay to sit and you're sad, but
wow.
So anyway, that's just where I'm at. But
boy, maybe we should change the topic of this podcast because I'd love to spend time talking about that. Because I think that shows the difference between you and I. I think it's okay to pass through your sadness, but I think too often we stay trapped in our sadness.
I agree.
And
I think sometimes we try to pass through it too quickly.
Yeah, sometimes we try to ignore that sadness even exists. And that's like toxic positivity is essentially ignoring the bad or the hard and like everything is great, everything's shiny, everything's puppies, everything's kittens. It's like, nope, sometimes people die of cancer. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of the reality of it. And so I think
sometimes life is just actually shitty.
Sometimes life is just actually shitty, 100%.
Yeah.
And I think that there's no ignoring that reality. But I think that's the danger. I think you can fall off on either side of that.
Yeah.
And I think that you and I could, because we're wired so different, could do that.
Yeah.
In fact, it's really funny. I'm looking at the things we're thankful for on the list in front of us. And these are hilarious to me. I hadn't looked at them, the difference between you and I. Sherry Beth, ladies first. I'm going to let you start with your list of things you're thankful for. And just go through your whole list.
My whole list?
The first like 3 there. And then we'll jump to the hard to focus on things.
Okay. So my office was being painted this week.
Yeah.
And so I went in Monday morning, which I don't usually do. I usually work from home on Mondays and Fridays and then go into the office Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. But I went in Monday morning to pack up my office so that they could paint. And then I worked from home all the rest of the week because they were painting. And I love working from home. And that's something I was thankful for. I really enjoy just working from home. So,
and I feel like that was kind of an unexpected thing because you didn't know you were going to be home all week, right?
No, I didn't. In fact, I was laughing with my boss because I found out Friday night, actually, after the Redefine Worth event, we were at a bar and I ran into one of my coworkers who was kind of arranging the painting and just randomly at this bar. And so she was like, hey, by the way, we're painting your office.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So I found out last Friday.
But even last Friday, you didn't know you were going to be out of your office all week.
No, I didn't. So, so I didn't know it was going to be all week. I found out Tuesday that it was going to be all week. Yeah.
So you were surprised last minute with the gift of working from home all week.
Yeah. And so that was great.
Why is working from home for you such a gift?
I like my coworkers and I don't hate going into the office. I just love working from home. There's just something about, I don't know, I'm working in my own space and yeah, I love working from home and I actually kind of feel like I get more done, working from home than I do in my office. I feel like I have less distractions.
Okay.
So, yeah, but that was something I was thankful for this week. Just unexpectedly being able to work from home all week.
There you go. What else you got?
This is sort of tied into it, but kind of not, because even if I had gone into the office, I would still be thankful for this.
And reminder, this is the one time you get to use this one.
I know. I am thankful for a warm, cozy house. And I don't know if it's because we, came from Mexico and kind of missed like the transition from summer to fall. But we got back and it was just cold. And I have been cold since we got back. And
God, I've been loving the cold so much.
and so I have had so many fires in our fireplace, and I have been loving like sitting under my blanket reading. I just like snuggling with Cappy. Like he's been loving having me snuggling under my blanket. Like it's just been great. So I love being home in our cozy house. I'm thankful for that.
So you mentioned Captain America snuggling. You also don't now get to use him in any future weeks either.
I know.
No, but I actually love this because I think this is a great thing. I bet, I don't know if I'm going to say 52 weeks out of the year, but probably 48 weeks out of the year, if you were to make a list of things that you're thankful for, our home would make that list almost every week.
I think so, and I think that's a good thing.
I was just going to say, I think that's a great thing. I think that's like, I love that our home is always on your list of things you can be thankful for.
Yeah, and this is kind of a new thing. So when we first got Cappy, he was very snuggly, and then he wasn't. Mm-hmm. He kind of stopped, and I thought, well, okay, we do not have a snuggly cat, and I was a little bit sad about that because that's kind of why I wanted to get another cat. And because Missy was very snuggly, and he really was for like that first month or so that we had him, and then he just wasn't, and he is now, and so he's getting back to being snuggly with me, not so much with Adam, but he's very snuggly with me. Like if I'm sitting down, he's probably on my lap.
I am shocked that week 1 you have already played the cozy house and the snuggly kitten card.
I know. I should have spread it out, but
that's what I'm saying. Like I am so excited to hear what comes in future weeks
because I can't use those again.
Those are 2 big ones.
I know. And with all of this is the last one I have on my list. With all of the SNAP stuff coming up this month.
So for those of you who might be in other countries listening, basically our government is shut down, and we're not going to get political on this. Our government is shut down, and one of the things when government's not funded is the government programs lose funding as well. And one of our biggest thing used to be called food stamps. Now it's SNAP. Helps millions and millions of Americans, like families, children, 44 million Americans. Mm-hmm. It's like 66,000 people here in Alaska that essentially November 1st, as this is posting, unless something transpires, those benefits that help keep families and children and adults fed will go away. And so there's been a ton of talk here in the States just about the ramifications of this and the number of hungry individuals in our country that will just rise and be going without. So there's been a lot of talk about this in our country.
Yeah, and food banks and food pantries just don't have the volume to...
They're already overrun.
Right, and so, there's just going to be a lot of really hungry people, and it sucks. And I'm so in the midst of all of this, I am thankful that we're not in a place where we have food insecurities and that we are in a place to help others.
Yeah.
If they need it. So that's something that has been on my mind and my heart, and I'm thankful that we are in a place that we can help if people need it.
Yeah.
So
I agree. I think that's a good example of one of those ones where, gosh, it's so easy to look at that whole issue and just get so frustrated and just so angry, and we are those things. Yeah. But at the same time, it's like, okay, is there any piece of this? Like, where does thankfulness live in this pile of crap? Mm-hmm. Right? And it isn't that. It's like, well, we can be thankful that we have food in our pantry, and we can be thankful that we're in a place where we can help put food in other people's pantries.
Yeah.
So that's a good one.
Yeah.
Okay. Now mine.
Next.
So I have 4 on my list. The first one, a week ago tonight, actually.
Yeah.
We had our big kind of annual fundraising banquet. It's called Redefine Worth. And we've been told by a number of other nonprofit leaders to really go into this fundraiser with realistic expectations, that kind of events were down across the board because of just the economy and uncertainty and everything going on. And so really, like, go into it with a realistic expectation that your numbers are probably going to be down, and maybe down significantly. So went into it with that. And that ended up not being the case for us. We actually raised like 25% more money than we have at events the last few years, which was totally unexpected and hugely encouraging.
You had fewer people.
We had fewer people and raised 25% more money,
Yeah.
which is crazy. But even more out of that, just some of the stories that came out of it, some of the things that came out of it were just so powerful and encouraging and confirming about why we need to be doing the work we're doing. And
Yeah.
so to me, that event was just such a moment of thankfulness, not just because of financial provision, but just because of all of the things that came out of that evening. So for me, Redefine Worth is a huge one. The next one for me was that if you've been following along, you know that a couple of years ago, my mom got diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. We did not think she had long. She did not think she had long. And it was just one of those situations where her body responded to the chemo in the very, very best way. And so she went through chemo. She was declared cancer-free. But we also knew this was a very rare and aggressive form of chemo that had a good chance of coming back.
Cancer.
What did I say?
Chemo.
Oh, yes, of cancer. And so she's been on this almost like a chemo pill kind of thing for the last, year plus. And she's just finishing up those chemo pills. And she went in for an MRI and some blood work, and MRI showed no sign of the cancer returning. Her cancer antigen numbers are below even a normal person's still, and even like now that she's off these pills. And it was just like, I don't know, that it's one of those things that when we were in the middle of this, if you would have told me that, hey, not only is your mom going to be here in a couple of years, but she's going to be cancer-free in a couple of years, like that was beyond even the scope of, I think, what we knew how to hope for.
Yeah.
And so just having her, call this week and get to hear her voice after that and tell me kind of what her cancer antigen numbers were and the MRI results. And it's just like, oh my gosh, like that's unbelievable.
Yeah.
So incredibly thankful for that. The next thing for me, and I feel like these are all the life huge things. Something happened over the last couple of weeks that actually allowed us to get debt free.
Yeah.
Sherry and I hate debt. And so currently the only debt we have is our mortgage. So I guess we're not debt free. We're debt free with everything except for our mortgage. We have no car payments, no credit card debt, no student loans, no anything else. And we've been that way before in our marriage. But, a lot of things happened through your sickness, mom's sickness, just kind of the need to travel more, the need to, and so you start putting stuff on credit cards and it's like when life hits, you live off whatever resources you have. And for us, we burned through our savings when Sherry got sick. And then just other life happens. And so, you kind of just dig yourself in this hole. And so on one hand, I'm thankful that we had the resources, both in savings and credit cards, to be able to like make it through a couple really, really hard seasons. But you get to the end of those seasons and it's like, damn, like we were debt free and now we have all of this.
Yeah.
So,
and I was also like coming out of being sick and I lost my job.
Well, that's exactly right.
Yeah. And
so it literally was like all of these huge life things happened in such a short period of time.
Yeah.
And there are so many more things that happened that just kind of felt like we got hit a lot. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
And so we racked up debt that we have not loved having. And so this last week we had to pay off all of that debt, which was huge. And honestly, even just so I handle our finances, and it was crazy. Like when I making my payments online, paying everything off, it was like just like this huge weight. Like literally I felt like somebody took a backpack off of my back that was just filled with bricks, because like just the debtor is slave to the lender or whatever it is. Like
Yeah.
it feels that way. It feels like you're in slavery when you are just carrying debt. So that was a big one for us this week. In fact, honestly, that's a really big one.
That's a really big one, and that's something we're just really thankful for.
And so I feel like my 3 were huge, and I was like, okay, this is like, I need like a normal one. Like, because I feel like all of my 3 were like overwhelmingly large.
Yeah.
And then I was like, you know what? Today, as we're recording this, is Halloween. For some of you, you're not going to understand this at all. You guys, we have no snow on Halloween.
It was 42 degrees.
That's insane. Most Halloweens, or at least a lot of Halloweens, it is snow, it is cold. How many times have we gone to friend's house and hung out outside where we are just freezing to death?
Oh, like so many. Like so many. And how many like Halloweens have we dressed up and had to wear like so many layers underneath our costumes? Like,
and then winter coats over our costumes.
and the winter coats over our costumes because we're still freezing. Yeah, like it is really funny, like looking back through, photos and stuff and just being like, oh, well, you can't really see my costume because
I promise you it's under there.
because I have my coat over because I'm freezing.
Yeah.
Or, oh, that could have been a cute costume if it didn't have 37 layers underneath it. Yeah, like, it's really funny. And so that was something that we were like kind of laughing about and thankful for today, that it was warm.
Yeah, and here's the
And
thing.
we didn't actually even dress up today.
And we didn't even dress up. You guys, I love winter. You know I love winter.
Yeah.
But this year, I actually was really glad that, like, as we were going over to a friend's house tonight and just kind of hanging out, watching trick-or-treaters, I was just really thankful that, you know what? I'm thankful we don't have snow on Halloween this year. Mm-hmm. Now, if it snowed tomorrow, I wouldn't be so mad. But I was thankful for today.
And we did have snow last weekend. It didn't stick. It
Yeah.
snowed kind of all day, but none of it stuck. Like
No.
it didn't, even as it was snowing, it didn't stick. But
See, I feel like, yes, it snowed, but we don't have snow. And I
Yeah.
think that to me is the difference. Is that like we don't have snow on Halloween. I feel like it's officially winter, not when it snows and sticks.
yeah.
So who knows when that will be? Maybe soon. Could be tomorrow. We could wake up tomorrow to 20 inches.
Oh my gosh, stop it.
I'm sorry. Okay.
Stop
so
it.
now.
Can I give one more?
Yes.
And we sort of touched on this at dinner.
You're not allowed. Hold on. You're not allowed to use Warm Cozy House or Captain America. I'm just reminding you.
Shut up. It has to do with Halloween.
Okay.
So growing up, we never celebrated Halloween.
Oh yeah, right.
And, it was my parents' decision and that was okay. But like, this has been something that, as an adult, we have chosen to celebrate. And it has been a lot of fun. And so like, that's just something that I'm thankful for. Like tonight, we didn't even really dress up. I wore a orange t-shirt that has ghosts holding books and trick or treat earrings. And that was the extent of my dressing up. But we still got to hang out with our friends, and it was just a fun night. And like most other Halloweens, we do dress up, and we have just a blast with it. And it's been really fun. And so like that's something I've been thankful for, is just how much fun it is. And we just got to like hang out with our friends tonight and laugh and joke around and
you said something.
Watch teenagers have a blast.
So I'm glad you just said teenagers, because that's something you said that I thought was really interesting earlier. You had talked about how, because we were raised very differently. And so you talked about the first time you ever went trick-or-treating when you were a teenager.
I was
Is that
19.
Right? You were 19.
Yep.
And you had said that you had seen people kind of, I don't know, maybe debating online, just about like, should you give candy to teenagers who are trick-or-treating? Should you not? And I thought you had an interesting comment about that.
Yeah, so there was, kind of a debate going on online, should we give teenagers or adults candy, or should we just reserve it for the kids? And, people going back and forth. And my thought was, so the first time I ever went trick-or-treating, I was 19 years old. And, my friends kind of rallied and they were like, hey, you've never gone. We're dressing up and we're going. And I was like, okay. And so like we all dressed up and we all went, and we were in college. We were all, 19, 20-year-olds. And we weren't turned away. And I am so thankful for that, because that was my very first experience ever trick-or-treating. And I had a blast. It was so much fun. And I would have been so sad if we had been turned away because we were too old to be trick-or-treating.
Yep.
And so that is, what I said. Like I kind of chimed in and I was like, please don't turn away teenagers or adults. Like you don't know how they were raised. You don't know if this is their first time. You don't know if they're, you don't know their situation. And so, like, if they're out there having fun, just give them some damn candy. Like, don't be stingy. Like, just, give everybody who comes to your door some candy. Like, and if you want to be stingy, then just don't hand out any candy. Turn off your light. Like, like, just don't be that person. So, yeah, that was kind of my thought. Like, don't be stingy with your candy, because you don't know where people are coming from.
I like that we're on a thankfulness podcast, and Cher's like, don't be stingy.
I don't know. It was so much fun, and I was very thankful at 19 years old that nobody turned us away, because they could have, and we had so much fun, and it was a blast. So, yeah.
All right.
Anyway, moving on.
Can I move on?
Yep.
Okay. So the next thing we're gonna answer, it's a question we're both gonna answer. So we touched on this a little bit, that there are areas that I think it's easy to look for when it comes to thankfulness, right? Books and cats and home, that kind of stuff. Which, by the way, you didn't use books today, so books is still in books is still in play for future weeks.
Okay.
Choose it wisely, Sherry. You went with a couple of big ones. You've already scratched off a couple of big ones. But I think there's other things that maybe at first glance or on the surface are not areas of thankfulness. I think about even like the food insecurity you talked about, right? Everything was SNAP benefits. This was one that could have fit in this area.
Yeah.
But that as you look more into it, as you look a little bit deeper, you can find the thankfulness in the pile of crap. Sherry, this week, where did you find the thankfulness in the pile of crap?
Yesterday, so Thursday, this was posting on Saturday, but Thursday, October 30th, I had to do my big injection. And it's hard to be thankful for that, because it hurts, and it's this giant needle I have to stab myself with.
Well, and it's the reminder, that you're still, like, not, quote unquote, not healed.
That I'm going to be on this for the rest of my life.
Yeah, this isn't just like, okay, well, just one more month and I'm done.
No, it's something I will be on for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
But I am thankful that this medicine exists,
Yep.
and that I have it.
Yeah.
And, that it's working still. That is also a concern. Sometimes your body just decides to start rejecting this medication. And my doctor has said that is a possibility, and that we will pivot if that happens, but it has not yet. And so, yeah. So even in the midst of not enjoying having to do these injections, I am thankful that I have it, and that it exists, and that it's keeping me alive.
And even I think you could even, this is what I love about thankfulness, that when you start focusing on it, you start seeing other things.
Yeah.
Because I didn't think about this until you were talking about this. Think about all of the stress you and I had earlier this year when your company changed insurance.
Yeah.
And the drug you had been on, Taltz, was no longer going to be covered. And so they wanted to move you to Tremfya, right? And there was so much concern that, like, what if this doesn't work? What if this stops working?
Yeah.
There were all of these what ifs, like, why do you have to switch drugs when we know this is working? This makes no sense. And so it was like this huge, scary thing. And then it was like not even being covered.
Yeah.
And
And the insurance was like, we're going to pay for it. Just kidding.
thousands of dollars that we were going to have to pay for.
Yeah.
And there's all of these things that, like, so much of this year, we spent time worrying about your injections.
Yeah.
And here we are in November. Your injections have been covered every single month.
Yeah.
The new medication you're on is working. The new medication you're on, you have to take
Every 8 weeks instead of every 4.
8 weeks instead of 4.
Yeah.
So there's longer gaps between. So like in Mexico, you didn't have to bring it.
I didn't. Yeah.
And so, like, even thinking about, I think that this is a good example of what is so important about thankfulness. When you start intentionally looking, you start seeing more layers to be thankful for.
Yeah.
And this is an area of Sherry's life that has been so consuming the last several years, most of it with negative and pain and fear, and yet now we're looking at it and there's all of these layers that we can actually be thankful for this year.
Yeah, I agree.
That's crazy. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
So for me, mine has to do with my work. I have heard over the last week a lot of new stories of exploitation or trafficking. A lot of survivors have come out and have just kind of come forward, and a lot of times me and my team are the ones who hear that stuff. And on one hand, I hate that there are so many more stories coming out, right? It's just like, how long will evil prevail kind of thing.
Right.
But on the other hand, when I look for the thankfulness in it, I'm thankful that myself and my team and our organization are being trusted enough to hear those stories. That somebody who has maybe carried a secret for years or decades, who has never told that to anybody else, says, I trust you enough to tell you this. Like, there's a gift in that. Even though it's so heavy, it's so hard. There's a gift in like the trust that you have to be given these stories or to hear these stories.
Being that safe place.
Being that safe place. And so I think for me, as I think about it, it's easy for me to look at the work that we do. And of course, there's areas of thankfulness with Victory and clients that graduate our program and clients that, even stay alive or go on to do big things. But there's also like a gift in hearing really, really hard things. And so I think I'm thankful for the gift that's been given to me of those stories this week. So that's kind of my hard one.
Yeah.
So now, Sherry, last question for each of us. Mm-hmm. And your question that you chose was, who is someone from your past who you were reminded to be grateful for this week?
So I got a Facebook reminder that it's this person's birthday today.
Mm-hmm.
And for whatever reason, actually, she kind of popped into my head a couple of days ago. And I was like, oh, I haven't actually talked to her in a couple of years, I think.
Yeah.
It's been a little while. And then I got like the birthday notification and I was like, oh my gosh. And this person was just very pivotal in our life when I was very sick.
Mm-hmm.
And stopping by to bring us meals she was one of those who would just like text us and be like, hey, I dropped some meals off. Like she wouldn't even really like knock on the door. Mm-mm. Or like sometimes, she would say, hey, when can I come over and like visit? And she would visit. But there were times that she would just be like, hey, I dropped your dinner off. And, and just like gave us the space. And it, like, she was just very, pivotal and just a very kind person when we really needed kindness in our life, I think. And, and so she kind of popped into my head a couple of days ago, and then today was her birthday. And so, I think she's somebody who I just haven't talked to in a few years, but I'm just very thankful for the role that she played in our life when we really needed her.
So I have a challenge for both of us, and I hadn't thought about this till I was just listening to you. And my challenge is to you for the person you just thought of, as well as me to the person I'm about to talk about in a second. I think about the times when we get random messages from people about how ways that we've spread kindness impacted them. And just like how encouraging that is to us.
Yeah.
So I'm going to challenge you.
To reach out to her.
Even if it's a text. Even if it's just to say like, hey, saw it was your birthday. Like, you've been on my mind. And I know this is a few years down the road, but like, here's what your kindness meant to me. And just like be intentional about sharing that. Because I think that sometimes we, like, that. I mean, and you and I have talked about her and how much she cared for us and how sweet she was and the way she handled that. We've talked about that a ton. We've thanked her when we've seen her in person. But I just think, like, how important would a message like that be?
Yeah.
So that's my challenge to you. Agreed?
Agreed.
All right, so mine is a little bit different. Mine's a little bit different. Mine's not even one that I don't even know that you know about. So literally yesterday, I was going with my team out to Palmer, to a facility out there to hang out with a bunch of students, kind of doing a bunch of work out there. And I left here at 4, I think.
About 4
o'clock. Because I went to pick up Allison at 4:30. And when I left here, I realized I had not eaten. Like, I was like, oh, dinner. And we weren't having dinner with the students. In fact, what we were bringing was like 4 dozen donuts because, like, what student doesn't want a donut? And they were doing like candy apples, and they had like other candy, and they had a cakewalk, and they had all this stuff, but like there was no like real food. And I was like, oh man, like And it was going late at night, and I was like, I don't know when I'm going to eat, and I haven't eaten. And as I was leaving, Allison, who I was picking up to drive out to Palmer with, texted, and she was like, hey, I made like a huge pot of soup today, like a butternut squash broccoli soup. Do you want me to bring you a mason jar of soup that you can drink on the road? And I was like, oh, thank God. Yes, I want that so much. And it was just like, she... Like,
Allison for the win.
it was the kind of thing that like I had... Like, she didn't know I hadn't eaten. I completely forgot to eat. It was totally on me. And it was just one of those things where somebody like shows up in your life with exactly the thing that you need at the moment. And so like I pick her up at her house, and there she is with like her backpack and like this mason jar full of hot soup that I got to like drink on the drive out to Palmer. And it was such a small thing to her. I mean, again, she had no clue that I hadn't eaten. It was just like, oh, I made all this soup. Let's see that I'm on soup. Yes, I really, really needed soup, because if I would have just had donuts and caramel apples,
not great.
Bad news bears.
Yeah.
Real bad news bears. And so for me, it was just like her just asking if I needed something, and I did. So mine was the question I answered. Sherry's was a little bit different. Sherry's was someone this past week you were reminded had showed you kindness. Mine was, how did someone show you kindness recently? And so that's how Allison showed me kindness recently, through a mason jar of butternut squash.
I love that.
And broccoli soup. And it was delicious.
Is that the jar that's sitting on the counter?
So it's the jar that was sitting on the counter. I actually washed it last night and took it back to her already today.
Good job.
I never do that.
Wow.
In the same day turnaround, getting a jar back to somebody.
Impressed with you.
Most of our cabinets are filled with plasticware from meals that people have dropped off or given us that we never give back to them. If you've sent us home with a meal in the last 5 years, can you come by our house and look through our drawers? Because I promise you,
we probably have your dish.
Your dish is in there.
Also, there's a dish. There's one of our dishes in the Jeep.
Oh, a plate?
Yep.
Sorry about that.
Yep. I was like, what is this?
That was what did I make? I don't remember. I think it was like a breakfast something that I made, and then I took it with me because I was running late.
It looked like one of those breakfast sandwiches. It looked like baked on cheese.
That's exactly what it was.
Cool. Yep.
Are you? No, Sherry. I'm sure you got to be thankful for my baked on cheese.
Oh, you know.
Hold on. Let's think about this.
I'm thankful that the plate didn't break. That's
okay.
Bouncing around in the back of the Jeep.
See, you really can find thankfulness anywhere you look.
Yep.
Friends, here's what I want to know. Because here's the thing. You guys are not getting off the hook on this.
Nope.
Because we are all, as a community, going to do this together.
Yes, we are.
So here's what you're going to do. You're going to go over to YouTube. You're going to search clickety-clack LeggLife podcast. You're going to find this episode, November 1st, 2025, episode
Number
169.
169.
Boom, nailed it. And in the comments, you are going to tell us things this week that you have been thankful for.
Yep.
Look back on the last week, and I'm gonna be honest. I understand that some weeks this is really easy, some weeks this is really hard. Some weeks, what you're thankful for, it may just be a single thing that is very surface level, but at least you've got that.
Yep.
Right? And so every person who's listening, go over to YouTube and search that and let us know what you are thankful for. And we're going to do this same thing every single week. This episode, this is what we're going to do every week through November, because for us, we need to be better about being intentional to focus on things in our life to be thankful for.
Yes.
I think all of us need that. And remember, Sherry has already used 2 of the big ones. Tune in next week to see if Sherry uses books or if you save that one. I'm so nervous to find out. My gosh, oh my God, when she can use books. Friends, we love you.
Oh, man.
Thanks for being part of the LeggLife community. We are very, very thankful for you guys.
Yeah.
And we will see you next week on the next LeggLife podcast.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye.